Now, it's not a particular secret that I like Pilot watch. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you've probably likely heard me say that I really like a watch with a jewel crown. I just like the way it looks. So when I actually found out there was a Microbrand that is primarily focused on aviation or pilot style watches, and that Microbrand also had one of these aviation themed watches with a jewel crown, well, I just had to get this one into my collection. Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I am talking about watches, and that's why it was such a great day when I received an email from BYOP, Be Your Own Pilot, the Microbrand that focuses on these aviation themed watches, because when I then looked at the range of watches and saw a pilot style watch with a jewel crown, I knew, yes, that is something that I do want to own. But I was then left with a slight dilemma, because as I was looking on the website at this particular model, I saw that there were multiple variations of it. In fact, there were 6 dial variations. I think effectively it's the same case, the same idea, but just with some slight differences to that internal rotating chapter ring there and the dial layout itself. But I ended up choosing the Navitimer. It was just the one that I preferred the look of. But no matter which ones of these ones you might be looking at, they all cost $259 US. They have front and rear sapphire crystal. They have 50 meters of water resistance. They are powered by the Seiko NH35, and they all come with 1-year warranty. But the one that I'm going to be showing you today was sent out to me by the brand, which is why you would have seen that sponsored icon earlier. And of course, I'm just going to leave a direct link to this website, and it's worth having a look at the website at the various watches they have and the different variations within the models that they are producing. But when the Navitimer did arrive, I instantly knew that I chose the right one from the collection, because it really is the one that stood out to me the most. Both this variation, but also this specific model. And one of the reasons was because as soon as I took this one out of the packaging, as soon as I took it out of its case, it really then obviously felt solid. It felt well made. It felt soft. It felt like it'd been finished well and had a really nice weight to it. But I guess I'm trying to sort of say it has some substance to it, and it sort of felt good. And it also has a really good set of dimensions too. But it has another little trick up its sleeve. But let's talk about the dimensions of this watch, because the case of this one is 42 millimeters. The height is 13.1. It has a lug to lug of 48 exactly, a lug width of 22. And on the leather strap that it comes with, it is 97 grams. But I say that it comes with this leather strap, but it also comes with a secondary strap too, and you get to choose which color variation of a fabric canvas strap too. So 2 straps, comes with the leather however, and that weight is listed on the leather. And I said it had a little bit of a trick to it as it then goes onto my wrist. Sitting down onto my 17 centimeter wrist, you'll see there is quite a bit of curvature to the underside of that case, which allows that size, the lug to lug, but also that case really nestle down onto the top of my wrist. As you would expect, however, when you then look at the dial of this watch, there is something that you probably would expect. Because this is an aviation themed watch, it is a very legible watch, and it is a very legible watch partly because of the contrast between the black and the white of the dial. Looking closely at the dial, you'll see that it is a satin black with white printing on there. The hands then are also white, but with a black center section, which when you're looking down at this watch, it makes these hands look like they are floating above the dial. But there's also loom on those hands, loom on some of those markings, and it is very good loom too. You'll see there's a little bit of a clash in the quality on the hands versus the background, but it's only very minor. And I can say that I've tested this throughout a night and it lasts really well. But as you look at those sword shape hands, a couple of things stand out to me. Firstly, yes, that black central section which lets it sort of float above the dial, but also how long they are, especially that minute hand. It really then just touches that outer rotating chapter ring. But then of course there's that pop of yellow, which I think really does help this watch, give it that little extra little detail, that little feature that brightens this watch up just that little bit. The date window, which you can see somewhat squished in there, actually sort of disappears in there. It's not something that I look down and even notice that this watch has a date. The way that it's been positioned, the black background on the calendar wheel itself, it's actually done nice. It's tucked in, yes. It's squished, yes. But that's not something that you actually see when you look at this watch. It's chosen well. I like where they've put it. I like that it almost disappears, but I also like the functionality of having the date on this watch. And of course, because this is a dual crown watch, that secondary crown rotates that inner rotating bezel. It has a smooth feel to it. There's no little clicks to it. It just has a smooth action. You'll notice that crown also is not screwed down. That's probably partially why this watch only has 50 meters of water resistance. All of that though is covered by a flat piece of sapphire crystal. It does have AR coating, which is noticeable when you are outside. Now that solid bezel and the case are all brushed, which does suit a tool style watch like a pilot watch or an aviation themed watch, but it is normally something that I complain about a little bit because I do like a little bit of polish just to break it up, to play with the light a little bit. But it's not something that I actually complained about with this watch. And I think it's because of the surfaces, the angles, and the direction of the brushing. The brushing itself actually does play with the light a little bit, and I think those angles and those sharp angles, especially on the lugs, allow for this little bit of light play. So it is almost like a trick for me. If I was going to have an all brushed case and bezel, this is done exactly how I would like it. I didn't actually think they could do it like this because I've always then said I wish there was a little bit of polish, but this one, well, there's no need for it because it sort of gives that detail and that light catching effect that I'm chasing. You'll also see, looking at the side profile of this watch, just how much those lugs are turning down, just how much they are sort of cut off at that 48mm lug to lug. And of course those lugs are also drilled for ease of change between the straps that you get for this one. Those two dual crowns are both signed. I've already shown you that the rotating crown at the top is non-screw down. However, the base crown there, which activates this NH35 movement, does screw down, which is a bit of an interesting choice since the other one doesn't screw down and you only have 50 meters of water resistance. But that's the choice that is made. But of course it's an NH35, which means it is an automatic Seiko movement with hacking and hand winding. It is nice to see when you turn the watch over that it is also a see-through caseback, but also a sapphire crystal see-through caseback. Not something that a lot of people do. They seem to forget about the back for some reason. It's nice that this brand has chosen to do that, and you can see that Seiko movement through the see-through caseback and see that there is a brand specific rotor on there, giving you a little bit more of the branding, but also a little bit more of a personalization to this particular watch. The strap that it comes with and that is fitted to it when this watch arrives is this black leather with the white stitching, so it helps keep the theme of this watch of black and white going, which suits it very nicely. It has a nice feel to it. It has a branded buckle, which is nice. And I mentioned that you have a choice of a canvas strap too. I'll send a black variation of it, and it's a very good canvas strap. And it's nice to have the option to swap between the canvas and the leather depending on what you would like to do. So I do actually have quite a few positive things to say about this watch. The case especially and that brushing really stands out to me. I do also always appreciate a dual crown watch, and this one seems to suit the design but also then fit down onto a wrist, which is nice. Super legible. I like the details and how they have then put in the date window there so it doesn't stand out. But I do sort of question, why does a screw down crown? And if I'd be a little bit picky, not that it makes any difference to this watch or me actually wearing it, when I look at those drilled lugs, they seem to be a little bit high on the case. But that also might be my own personal thing because I actually don't like drilled lugs. I think it distracts from the side of the case a little bit. Not that I'm particularly looking at the side of the case, but those things are worth mentioning or at least pointing out to you. And I do want to say thank you very much to the brand. I do have a second watch from them as well that I'm going to be featuring soon, so I'm looking forward to sharing that one with you too. But whilst we wait for me to make that review of that watch, perhaps you could watch one of the reviews of these watches.